Representatives Luna and Burchett have been running the show over a committee hearing that happened a couple of days ago, where they took the opportunity to ask all the burning questions that we had regarding UAPs, UFOs, and little green men. So yesterday, or the day before yesterday, sorry, Representative Luna was the first person to ask a series of questions about UAPs at a committee hearing. Representative Luna is doing great work today, and here she is asking a series of questions about UAPs, metallic spheres over nuclear facilities. How does the DOE investigate UFO sightings? Does the DOE currently work with the JSOC? DOE involved with UAP crash retrievals, 40 and 50s UFO incidents. She just had this person's balls on her vice, and it was amazing to watch. Take a look at this.
When Representative Burchett asked you about some UAP stuff, you said that the DoD essentially had denied any existence of that, and you referred to them as drones, correct?
It's my understanding that the Department of Defense has looked at this and issued a report about it.
I have a lot of questions, so just quick and concise if possible. There have been persistent claims and reports, including those from credible whistleblowers to this committee, suggesting that the U.S. government, potentially including the Department of Energy, has been involved in reverse engineering technologies recovered from UAP. For example, the Pentagon's proposed Kona Blue program aimed at reverse engineering such technologies, although it was ultimately not established. Can you clarify whether the Department of Energy has been involved in any such efforts, or, either historically or currently, to analyze reverse engineering materials from related to UAPs?
Just straight in, no fucking about. Like, she's like, all right, well, now I've got ya. Bang, 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 bang. Here's some questions.
I have no knowledge of that.
Okay,
Shock.
there are several reports indicated frequent drone incursions over DOE nuclear facilities, including an incident on April 1st, 2021 at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, also known as LLNL. Can you detail the DOE's current security measures to prevent unauthorized drone activities or UAPs, and what steps are being taken to enhance these measures of frequencies of incidences?
Yeah, we have a whole counter drone effort to make sure that all of our national security sites and our labs are protected from incursions from drones, I'll just say, that are not authorized. So there's a whole series of protocols, probably not ripe for discussion in this public setting.
Correct.
Wow, so they're going down the route of drones, like, not UFOs, not UAPs. She didn't even utter those letters. She just went straight for drones, of course. What a shock.
So I reviewed some unclassified materials from around the 40s and 50s, and so they weren't just being reported as drones back then, and I encourage you to look over those materials because I think that you guys should be upgrading that program to cover down on UAPs. There have been...
Oh my god, that was amazing! Oh, this is why I love Luna, man. She is just goals when it comes to this kind of thing. She's just like, oh, okay, well, back in the 40s and 50s, they weren't calling it drones, so, you should probably get yourself up to speed on that. You should probably update yourself a little bit.
Been documented sightings of metallic spheres over DOE facilities, if you want to call them drones in this instance, such as one report on April 30th, 2019 over LLNL. What investigations have been conducted in regards to these sightings, and what conclusions do you guys have about the nature and origins of these objects?
I'm happy to follow up with you on that.
Okay, we'll be submitting also for public record some questions after this, if you could please answer those. Considering the DOE's involvement in nuclear and sensitive research facilities, how does the DOE coordinate with agencies like the Department of Defense and AARO to investigate UAP sightings?
We obviously are teamed with the Department of Defense because of our national security and nuclear mission.
Are you able to cite any specific investigations or shared data analysis efforts?
I don't have information on that.
Okay. As of right now, again, we'll be submitting some questions for you after this, but I hope that you guys can answer those in a timely fashion. And again, for those that might be tuning into this, I would encourage you to look at some of those unclassified materials, and we'll be happy to provide your office with that. I'll just follow up by one other.
She is not taking it lightly on her, is she? Like, there was a bit of controversy before this hearing, though, so we'll go over that in just a moment, regarding the spokesperson who Luna is talking to, Secretary Granholm, I think her name is. There was a bit of controversy with trying to get her there in the first place, to the point where, like, basically she wasn't turning up. But we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Provide your office with that. I'll just follow up by one other question, I guess, to close it out. Does the DOE currently work with JSOC in order to handle security measures?
We work with all of the security entities around the federal government. We're part of an overall all-of-government effort on both cyber as well as national security.
Do you guys work with JSOC? Yes or no?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma'am.
She was very reluctant to answer that last part, wasn't she? So that was just Anna Paulina Luna's side of things. Then she had to deal with Mr. Timothy Burchett, Mr. Dagnabbit himself, right? I just love it when he says that, and I hope that we get a Dagnabbit in this one. But he also went for the jugular. So Representative Tim Burchett asked Department of Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm about UAPs, and basically, well, we'll cover that in just a moment. But to go back to the controversy, right? So over on Twitter, Mr. Burchett's Twitter to be specific, Representative Tim Burchett calls out the Secretary Granholm for being forced to show up today to the hearing. So she wasn't going to turn up. They literally had to force her to appear. And that is because it's ridiculous. We had to threaten her with a sub poena to get her to appear before Congress. We're going to conduct oversight on this administration's failed leadership, whether they like it or not, but it works better when they cooperate. So basically, she wasn't going to turn up, but he held her to rights once again, also asking about UAP information. So let's get into that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, Tennessee is a massive hub for nuclear energy. Is the Biden administration supportive of new nuclear deployment, especially the small modular reactors?
We are.
And can you tell me how y'all are helping with that deployment?
We thank very much Congress's funding in the 24 budget for small modular reactors, as well as the approval to be able to advance nuclear reactors, different designs. We've got about $12 billion that we are funding nuclear writ large, including the uranium strategy and the HALEU strategy that will be the fuel for the small modular reactors.
Can you give me a timeline? They keep telling me 10 years before those are rolled out, and that was about 5 years ago.
Well, I sure hope not. I know the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has approved a design of one of the small modular reactors and others that are in the mix. That's the first step, of course. But we are eager to partner with utilities, the tech community, who are obviously going to be needing clean baseload power and could have small modular reactors attached to, for example, data centers. That kind of strategy, we're
Do you have a
eager.
Timeline? Could you give me a date
Well,
when we're going to see? We're
it
going to turn
depends
the
on
switch on one of these.
Here's what we'd like to see is that the utilities step up to be able to do this, because it's the utilities who want to do it. But it's not certainly not the federal government that's holding it back.
Let me switch gears. What is the responsibility of the Federal Protective Services within the Nuclear Security Administration?
Are you talking about transporting fuels?
No, ma'am. I want you to speak. Well, I was going to follow up with the numerous reports by the Federal Protective Services officers describing suspicious occurrences of UAPs over nuclear facilities.
Oh.
Did you hear that? Oh. She was not ready for this. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because she is shitting bricks now because she's got to answer that. Oh. We'll see. It got me, man. It got me.
Let me just say, the Defense Department has said there is no evidence of UFOs, et cetera, or aliens in the United States. However, at those sites, there may be drones that may be nefarious. And so we are definitely looking at that and making sure that our national security sites are protected. We have a whole program related to countering drones that may be coming from
Well,
areas.
this isn't about drones, and this is prior to drones even. What protocols does the Department of Energy have for reporting and responding to any UAP sightings near nuclear infrastructure? And people joke about this, but...
This is so good. Oh, I wish I was in there just to see this firsthand, because, my God, this is just everything right now. This is just everything.
I get a lot of questions about this, concerning this, and about this hearing today from my constituents, so I would appreciate you answering that if there are any protocols.
Well, certainly there are protocols whenever we see anything unusual around our nuclear sites or our national security sites writ large.
Like what?
Okay, we'll switch gears. The proper use of the reserve consider, what is the proper use of the reserve, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in particular, considering its intended purpose is to provide an emergency stockpile of crude oil to protect against significant supply distributions from war or natural disasters? Is that the proper use of that reserve?
It is.
Okay. Should the U.S. face, if say the U.S. were to face an actual military threat, how would you describe our ability to respond to extreme energy disruptions?
We would have an ability to respond. We have the largest reserve in the world right now.
Okay. What's your strategy to help lower the prices at the gas pump without robbing our emergency reserves? Seems we do these things around election times, and
No,
both parties.
the reason why barrels were sold from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in 2022 was because Russia invaded Ukraine and there was a disruption in global supply. That emergency caused the president to release barrels so that he could temper that global supply disruption, including asking our allies from around the world to do the same, which they did.
How many of our military bases in Europe depend on or utilize Russian energy?
Our bases in Europe?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not aware.
Okay, good deal. Under your leadership, the Department of Energy has targeted gas stoves, washing machines, refrigerators, and clothes dryers based on what was called unquantified benefits related to climate and public health. How do you balance the meager, unquantified benefits of these rules with the massive cost burdens imposed on American manufacturers and consumers?
First of all, they are quantified. Americans will save $2 trillion in energy savings because their appliances are more efficient. We're required to do that under...
Yes, ma'am, but poor folks have to, when they do this, they have to buy these things. I think we're taking that, and I know the corporations love it when y'all put these new rules and regulations in, ma'am, but I really wished we had a little more time, and I wish you would show up when we ask you to. I think that shows a lot of arrogance, and Tennesseans are reminded of this leadership every time they go to the pump. And you all should be ashamed, I think, for your lack of accountability to Congress by not showing up when you're asked. And we had to threaten you with a subpoena just to get y'all here. So I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
It was not a good day in the office for her. Secretary Granholm had a tough old gig. She was asked about UFOs and UAPs and was like, no, they're drones. And then they're like, well, back in the 50s and 60s, you didn't call them drones. So what would that have been? That's been declassified, motherfucker. So, tell me about it. Dag nabbit. Oh, it was so good, man. It was so good to see someone being held to rights about this situation, because somebody's got to be, because someone's got the answers, and it ain't me, and it ain't Mr. Burchett, and it ain't Miss Paulina Luna. So ask the people that have got the answers. Instead, they'll just sit back and say it was drones. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. But what do you guys think of this? Oh, I love these two people, man. I love them. Like, protect these people at all costs. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to scare the hell out of that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Cannot wait to see you in the next one. I'll speak to you later. Peace.